picture this. You're on the practice mat of a competition, working on a routine that you can do in your sleep. You have your flyer up in the air working on a stunt that you've done hundreds of times when all of a sudden, she falls back on you. That happened to me, and I almost broke my back because of it. So I think it's pretty safe for me to say that cheerleading is hard work. Now, there are around 28,000 cheer-related injuries annually. And of those injuries, around 65% of female sports-related injuries are cheer-related in high school, and around 70.8 college female sports-related injuries are because of cheerleading. Now, my question is, if cheerleading isn't a sport, then why are there so many injuries related to it? When most people picture cheerleading, they picture high school cheerleading. That's where they're on the sidelines cheering the team on. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, high school cheerleading does give you the basics. It teaches you motions like high V or low V or K. Teaches you different jumps like a toe touch, a pike, a herky. It teaches you some of the easier tumbling passes. Most start out with cartwheels or roundoffs, and they might even go into a full twist where you're flipping through the air and your body's twisting at the same time, which is one of the more difficult tumbling passes. But even with all of those, it's still just the basics of cheerleading. So we have high school cheerleading, and then we have competitive cheerleading. Now, the way I compare high school cheerleading and competitive cheerleading is, high school cheerleading is like adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing. It's the easy math, the basic stuff that you need when you get to competitive cheerleading or, say, calculus. You need the basics to do the harder things. But in this case, the competitive cheerleading is the sport. So I think it's safe to say that cheerleading is hard work. Now, competitive cheerleading goes into things like the basics. You have the basics. But there's also dancing and stunts. Now, stunting would be where, in the case of an all-girls squad or all-female squad, there's anywhere from 2 to 4 bases. That means that they're the ones who are standing and holding someone up in the air or throwing them. The person in the air is the flyer. It's a good name. Now, there are different stunts like a basket toss, and that's where the flyer actually leaves the base's hands and does some sort of stunt. It can be anything from just going up straight in the air to doing something that would be like if they jumped on the ground and did a toe touch, they could do a toe touch. Or they could do things like the tumbling, like do a twist or a flip or something in the air. And then there are things where all 4 bases are holding them up in the air. And then there's also one-leg stunts where all of the body weight is on one person's hand. Now, if there are men on the squad, there's typically one male base where they will be holding a girl's feet in their hands, and they can go up or down or do even one-handed. So cheerleading is hard work. I actually even had a chiropractor who told me that he would rather his daughters play football than do cheerleading. I think that's saying something. Now, if you haven't ever seen competitive cheerleading before, I would picture Bring It On. So Bring It On is a movie that came out where it has the school cheerleading, it has where they're cheering at the games, but it also has the competitive cheerleading where they're actually performing and competing. So it shows both, so you can see that all the work that goes into cheerleading, so you can't say that cheerleading isn't hard work. So in conclusion, although cheerleading might be very showy, it might be about putting on a show and performing and dancing, and people might picture glitter and hair bows and smiling faces. They might picture girls in skimpy skirts and high school games and things like that. But it's really a hard sport.